Hello, everyone, and welcome to day number 3 of our Scale Your Business Lab. I'm so excited because we've done half of the journey. We've spoken about mindset, we've spoken about our offer, and now we're going to start going out there in the world and share our offer, which is why we are in the Scaling Your Offer day. This is day number 3. And basically, when we are at the scaling stage, as we already spoke about, we have to go through so many other aspects of our business to make sure that those aspects are aligned with our level, right? So people think I'm going to do my marketing and it's going to stay like this forever, but really it changes. You have to leverage it. You have to start doing new things to reach more people, to scale your offer, to have more impact, to scale your revenue. And we'll talk about day number 4 and day number 5, how we're going to use our systems and our teams to help us actually scale that offer. So first I want to start, I hope that today we're not again going to have technical problems, because it seems like some people cannot find the live on the page. So I would love for you to type in the chat. I know that Sarah from my team is joining us today. Here is Sarah. Sarah found the live. That's great. And she is going to actually tag you guys so that those of you who registered to the lab will be getting a notification in your Facebook, so that you know when you get a notification that I'm live, you can join. You can actually join the live, and don't worry if you're not joining this live, because like I always say, this is recorded. And if you don't have time to listen to it now, or if you cannot find the live, everything is recorded and will be sent to you by email, if of course you're registered to the Scale Your Business Lab. So I'm watching here the Facebook page, and I see that I want to see that everyone is here. So let me just watch the live, and so I can see your comments. Okay, can I see the comments here? Okay, very good. Very good. It seems like something has changed on Facebook, because we don't see the people that we used to see before. I'm here. Okay, who is this? I love that you're here, but I would love to know who you are. Oh, Annette is here. Great. Sarah is here. Okay, so people did find the live. And that's great. Yep. I see that people have found the live. Great. So this is where we're going to start. So today, like I said, we're talking about scaling your marketing. Okay. So if you haven't watched the first day, we spoke about scaling your mindset, how you're becoming the CEO of your business. You're not an entrepreneur anymore. This is not just a hobby. This is a CEO, a real business where you're making real money, when you're creating real change, and when you are actually having a real impact, and really like creating structures and systems and hiring people so that you're going to be able to really deliver, your unique brilliance, your offer, your services, your products. That was for the Scale Your Mindset day number 1. Day number 2 was about scaling your offer, right? Because once you are at this level of being the CEO of your business, then you cannot continue offering the minimum viable product, right? Yesterday we spoke about the MVP. You cannot just offer whatever you were offering in the beginning. Sorry, I'm gonna remove my jacket because I'm hot. You're actually going to start offering the leverage level of your offer, whether it is your irresistible offer, which is the one that you're working on after you've gone through the minimum viable product. And then you can even leverage that into your 3 offer package, which is a level up where you can have a low entry product, a standard product, and a high-end VIP product. And all this is part of your scaling process, because this is how you're basically learning to grow with your business and to offer always more to people. But now that we have the mindset, we have the offer, what do we need? We need the marketing. The marketing is what's going to get us out there. And this is what is going to get us to a place where people are going to see what we offer, right? We're going to have more exposure. We're going to have more visibility. And people are going to see what we offer, and they're hopefully going to buy from us, or to close the deal, to be interested, or to raise their hands and to say, yes, I'm interested. I want to know more. I want to continue this conversation with you, right? That's what marketing is. Marketing is basically allowing people to see you so that they can say, yes, you are solving a problem that I have. You have a solution to a problem that I have. Can we please continue this conversation? And then it becomes sales, right? So in this lab, we're talking about marketing and sales together. We're not talking about we're not going to talk about it separately, even though for those of you who have been in my previous events, I have done a specific 3 days training on closing the sales. And for those of you who've been there, you know how I always say that we have to separate the marketing from the sales, because the sales is another type of activity, another goal, another mindset, and another outcome, obviously. But today we're going to focus on marketing. Now, we also have a special guest coming today. She's going to come in a few minutes, and like I promised you, every day I have a guest coming in those trainings, because I believe that we want to show you not only the theory, but also the practical aspect of what it means to be an entrepreneur, and how do you apply those strategies. It's one thing to, have a theory and know how it works, and then it's another one to play in the entrepreneur's arena, and to actually do your trial and error and see what works and see what doesn't work. And today I have a special guest. I see that she just came in. She's in the waiting room, so she can see me. She cannot see me. I can see her. She cannot see me yet. And she's going to join us, and we're going to launch and start this Scale Your Marketing Day number 3 of our 5 days Scaling Your Business Lab, where we're going to actually talk about how this special guest has done a very specific marketing strategy, has applied a marketing strategy. And I want to talk about that strategy after in theory. So that's why I invited her, because I think she's a great example and very inspiring on how she used it. So if you're ready to welcome the guest, let me see. Let me see if you're ready. We're going to welcome Rachel. Here she is.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for coming. I'm always saying, I know this is a time between 6 and 7 with the kids going to bed, and
They have some stuff done. My husband is here, so hopefully 3 adults on 2 kids is enough.
That's great. And also we have people watching from all over the world, so it probably is not the same time everywhere. But I'm very happy that you're here, Rachel. So we're going to start first by introducing you, who you are, what you do, what is your business about. And then, like I said before, I'm just going to ask you a few questions around your marketing. What is the strategy that you've chosen for your marketing, and how this has helped you? So let's start first by introducing you.
Yeah, great. Okay. So my name is Rachel Oren, and I'm Israel's first facilitator of trauma-centered, trauma-sensitive yoga. I work in collaboration with mental health professionals who treat survivors of complex trauma, which is things like abuse, assault, any kind of traumatic maltreatment that happens over a long period of time. So there's a certain degree of chronic exposure. And what we know is this really creates a situation in which people feel estranged from their bodies. And so my work as a facilitator of trauma-sensitive yoga is to work with these individuals to help them regain a sense of internal security, internal safety, body ownership, and control in a way that directly supports therapy, their recovery, and healing process, so they can go on and live fulfilled, happy, and present lives.
Wow.
So that's in a nutshell what I do. Where I work privately, one-on-one with clients in my private clinic. I also collaborate frequently with different mental health organizations and clinics that serve different trauma-impacted populations. So, for example, I am part of the core therapeutic staff of 2 different shelters for women coming from very, very acute histories of sexual abuse and sexual trauma. And then I'm just starting now a collaboration with Dr. Anat Gur, who is the founder of the Chokhmat Nashim Women's Mental Health Clinic. And I'm doing trauma-sensitive yoga at actually Israel's first shelter for women with active substance abuse and addiction issues as part of their kind of rehabilitation and exposure to different mental health services, in addition to another group for women from a range of different backgrounds. But those are just examples of the kinds of places that I work in, and I do workshops and lectures as well. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, love it. Love the way you present yourself and love the way you're really making it very concrete for us to understand what you're doing. It's really, really important. And it's so important, the work that you're doing. Obviously, we won't say that enough because I think that those people really, we talk about need and we talk about, having a pain point where, this is a real pain point, not just a marketing pain point, right? It's a real life, things that are really, really people that have really suffered, and you're helping them going through that. So that's already amazing.
Thank you.
That's already amazing. So the reason why I thought about inviting you tonight, Rachel, is because when we started working together, you had, you wanted to put in place a marketing strategy, and you wanted to actually, grow your business. Who doesn't, right? Have more clients, right? And be able to share your expertise and your unique brilliance with more people. And at the time, we had thought of a few, or you had thought even before of a few strategies. And then you decided on one strategy. And I know that this decision has been really successful for you. And the reason why I want you to share this as an inspiration is because I'm giving you the context of what we're teaching today. Today, we're teaching marketing through events. So events-based marketing, right? So the whole approach of, instead of saying, hey, why don't you buy what I'm selling, is more like creating an event, which is what you did when you had this webinar, right? So it's creating an event where people go through a certain experience, and then out of this experience, there is, of course, an offer and something that could be made as a conversion to sales. So the whole concept is called event-based marketing. And I know you have a great story around that. So can you share to us, what was your idea in the beginning, and what did it become when you started aligning more with yourself? And then what was the result? We would love to hear the story.
For sure. Okay, so broadly speaking, I've always kind of targeted, I've known that I've had multiple different marketing target groups, but I've targeted them all the same, and it was never strategic. So in the beginning, kind of before we started working together, I target the endpoint client, the people who I'd actually work with, the mental health professionals and organizations, all together as one big kind of being. And that got me to a certain place. It helped. It got my foot in the door in the beginning. But in terms of, like you said, actually growing, it wasn't enough. And through, our work together and my own kind of internal work too, came to the decision that really my main point of contact for marketing is with the therapists and the, keepers of the keys at organizations and mental health clinics, the clinical directors, the project managers, the chief psychiatrists and psychologists, just various people who are actively in the mental health treatment profession. And they, based on their relationship with me and getting to know me, liking, knowing, and trusting me, refer to me their clients. And so the event-based marketing-based event that I did was a webinar 2 weeks ago, which, in the lead up, I'm one of these people who I like many entrepreneurs, I'm my worst critic, and it's hard to kind of make that voice in your head a little bit quiet at times. But so I was nervous. especially since I'm not a therapist. I'm there to support them. But I did it, and
I
it
want, I
went
want to, I
crazy.
want to make sure. I want to make sure that we don't skip the very important step, which was in the beginning. You wanted to do a webinar for end users,
Yes.
right? In the
Yeah.
beginning, you were thinking of having a webinar, an event where people that would benefit from your work one-on-one would come, to that webinar. And then
Yeah.
what I witnessed, that this was really amazing to see how you really shifted, because then you said from your personal work and from our discussions together,
Mhm.
you came to the conclusion that, wait, I want to do a webinar just for professionals. Right? Can
Yeah.
you talk about that switch? How did you switch from I'm going to do a webinar for anyone who wants to come, basically, to a webinar for very specific people? How did that go? This
Right.
switch?
So yeah, that's actually it's funny that I forgot that, because it's such a kind of remnant of the way I used to market, that it's just everybody can come. And yeah, I think it came from a place of a certain sense of insecurity, in that if I target one specific target group, that I would miss other potential clients. And so my thinking was that, let's have everybody come in, and whoever wants me can, be in touch, and whoever doesn't. And it became this conflict because of the nature of the work that I do, and the kinds of descriptions and understanding that an endpoint client has to have, and a professional who's going to refer me their clients is different. And very often for the endpoint client, it can be very, very triggering information. I had this really internal conflict of, is what I'm doing appropriate? Is what I'm doing safe? Is it in line with the kind of the ethical way that I want to conduct my business? And so while the kind of the person inside of me that has the eye on the business, so to speak, the money, the clientele, that is saying, no, go for everybody, get bigger, more is more. The strategic mind in me was like, this might actually not be the way to go forward. And that's where that break happened, that I suddenly just kind of came to the realization that directing this towards endpoint clients is not the best way forward, because they're not the ones who are going to build a relationship with me that are going to get them through the door. They have a relationship with their therapist who they know, they like, they trust. And if it's their therapist who introduces me based on their like, knowing, and trusting of me, then there's this triumvirate of, working together and everything being smooth. And I can speak in the same language as the therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist, and they can speak in the language that they're
Uh-oh.
I feel comfortable with. My camera just
Did we
blinked. Did
lose
something
you?
happen? I see you.
Oh yeah, we had a blank, a frozen moment for a second, but that's okay. We're back.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
basically what you're saying, and that's why I really wanted to make sure that we were talking about it, is what you're saying is that you actually aligned the content that you wanted to share for professionals, and you aligned it with the target market, and said, I'm only going to talk to target market. And that was really, this is what we're going to teach right after, which is the event-based marketing is basically putting the potential client in the center and doing everything around the potential client. So when you're putting the professional in the center and you're saying, I'm going to create that experience. In your case, it's a webinar. In other cases, it could be another event. But in your case, it was, okay, I'm going to create an experience that is tailor-made for those professionals. And so the content needs to be aligned, the way I'm talking, the words I'm using, the concepts I'm going to teach, everything is going to be for those therapists, and not having different people where I have to talk differently or have different messages or different types of content, right? And I think that this, at the moment that you decided that, I think that doors really started to open for you, and then
they did. Yeah, they really did. So I contacted my first circle contacts, people I've worked with before. I sent them, the link for the landing page that I put together in just, 2 hours maybe. And from there, it just grew and grew and grew. One of the people that I know sent it to all the directors of trauma centers in Israel, people from different municipal welfare services, different organizations, different people who work, you know, in Ministry of Defense somehow got the link and signed up within like their mental health unit there.
Wow.
So and all of these people now know my name. And I even got emails of people who missed it, saying, you know, I missed it, but I'd love to keep in touch. I sent them the recording of it, and they said, you know, we'll definitely want to be in touch in the future. That same day, the person who actually sent the link to all of her colleagues, she herself in the end had something come up and she couldn't participate. But we caught up on Zoom later that day, and she said, actually, it's really great that you're in touch because we just opened up a day center and I want to bring you in. This is going to happen in the spring, but I'm giving you a heads up now. I sent one of the social workers from this place where I'm at right now to participate in your webinar. And this is actually someone who I also had on my contact list and also sent to. So it's kind of like very serendipitous things happening all together. And I think it's really about, you know, internalizing that phrase of avoiding being a jack of all trades, but master of none.
Yes.
And I think it's okay to have different target groups and to do different marketing-based events for each one. I mean, certainly one day I would like to do something, I don't know what, for endpoint clients. But that's at a later date. I'm not ready for that yet. My business is not ready for that yet. And yeah, so this is like the real strategy that we worked on and that I've internalized, that I feel comfortable with. I haven't said I'm afraid of, I'm anxious, I can't do this, or what if this, what if that. No. If anything, I've been experiencing frustration when I feel like I've not been appreciated in certain circumstances.
Yes.
And the fact that, you know, the people who I'm working with now, who are very influential in the field in Israel, respect me, and they bring me into their meetings and they want me to be a part of it, that tells me that I really have value. And that was a part of my journey as well.
Wow.
And doing this event, it really intertwined with the mindset.
Right.
Definitely.
Definitely. It really put you on the map, right? It's really like putting you on the map of, you know, an expert that is talking at the same level as other professionals. And it is, and what I love about, you know, this, your story and your experience through that is that it was the focus, right? The focus on one target market and the alignment between the content of the event and the people that participated, and your alignment with this content made it possible of the ripple effects, right? Made the ripple effects real clear, because once, this is such a good example of, once you decide which target market you're going to talk to, then everything else becomes clear. The content you're going to share, the next steps, the relationships, the consequence, the upsell, everything becomes clear. And like you said, you can have two marketing strategies, but one after the other, right? I always say
primary, secondary, and like,
exactly. So I think that the reason why I wanted to invite you tonight is we're going to talk about scaling your marketing. This is the topic of today. And for me, the choice that you've made, which is a choice of, I'm going to say no to some people, I'm going to say yes to some others, or I'm going to say no to end users right now for this webinar, for this event, right? And I'm going to say yes to professionals. This is a decision of a CEO.
Yeah.
This is not a decision of an entrepreneur, like you said in the beginning, that says, whatever comes my way, which we need to do. We need to do in the beginning. It's okay. It's okay to start with that. But at some point, when you want to be more strategic, what you've done is really like having the courage to say, I'm going to say no to those people, even if it sounds counterintuitive, because if I have more people, then I'm going to have more results. Well, here we see how less is more, right?
Exactly.
Because having, right?
It's exactly that. It's you know, the shift in mindset from providing value to someone else instead of coming from a scarcity mindset. And, you know, the next thing I want to do is what we discussed is I'm actually going to a networking event tonight for mental health professionals. And what I want to do is through some of the bigger organizations that represent mental health professionals to, do an in-person 3-hour workshop for them. And that was received very well when I, proposed it. So we'll see.
So it opens doors. It's exactly that. It's opening doors. And going back to the events based marketing, it was also because you created that space for, I think your webinar was an hour or an hour and a half. For this time that you had those people in the Zoom with you, you created an experience. You showed them, like, this is the content, this is what I know, this is how I can help you, this is what I can teach you or show you. And this was not even like the product. This was an experience to actually bring them closer to the product, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And what was also amazing is that historically, whenever I've done these kinds of things before, because I've done them before, but again, they were just very broad and open to everybody, marketing of them and getting people to come was a nightmare. It was always pushing a boulder up a hill.
Right.
But what amazed me was that I barely did any social media posts whatsoever. I WhatsApped people very informally. Hey, if you're around, check this out. I'm doing this. You're more than welcome to come. They passed it on to, they passed it on, they passed it on, they passed it on. And before I knew it, I had to cut off the list of registrants because I couldn't, that was making me nervous. I didn't want to have tons and tons of people joining.
Wow.
And
how many people did you have? How many people did you have?
So when we actually signed in, I'm told close to 20 or 25 people were actually there. And I think I had closed off the sign up around like 30.
Wow.
So yeah, the fact that many people signed up, or sorry, like actually tuned in.
And also professionals, right? Those are people that are professionals that are very careful of their times. Yeah. It's not, they're not coming to a webinar to just check it out, right? They're really conscious of that.
I even had people message me that morning, 10 minutes before I had a client cancellation. What's the link?
Wow.
Yeah, but that just shows how much sometimes I think the world of social media and marketing these events can lead us astray. And if you think strategically in your target audience, it's really behooves one to think strategically in how you target what's a platform.
Exactly. I mean, listen, you also, working with therapists and with mental health professionals, that they're not the ones that love so much social media. They're not the ones that are, in the groups and in the posting, because they like the confidential, they're very private, they don't really like, so again, having a clear target market allowed you to know where to reach those people, because posting to the whole world would have just made you, waste your time, because it's exposure, but it doesn't really bring results, and not reaching the people where they are. So when you're doing a one-on-one, and I always say that, I say, we spend our time doing big things, but we forget to talking to people. Like, we're forgetting to just picking up the phone, or just sending a message, or just doing the contact thing, not just I'm going to work on a landing page, or so it's great. So thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going to ask you, like I ask all my guests, if you have one tip or one advice to give to the people that are listening. Tonight is around marketing. It's around alignment with our message, with our target market, but also around creating that event-based marketing. If you had one advice to give to people, what would be the advice?
I say, don't be afraid of the thing that makes you feel afraid. I would say, we each have our hot buttons, so to speak, of what make us feel intimidated as entrepreneurs, as business owners. And very often it's not actually a reflection of reality of what's going to happen with your business. It's a reflection of your own stuff, so to speak, that's being imposed on it. Because like you've said before, and that I really identify with, your business is your baby. And so for me, that was being able to stand on my own 2 feet and speak eye to eye with mental health professionals who PhDs, whatever, all of that. So actually standing on my own and holding my own space and giving myself the respect that I deserve so that they respect me in return,
Right.
and valuing what I do so that they value it. And that has been a major breakthrough in the way that I see my business. And it was the one thing that I really needed to address because I was afraid of it. If you're afraid of something, that's a sign that there's something there.
Yeah.
Which for better or for worse, and maybe, you know, when you address it is kind of more the question, but it's something that should be taken into consideration because very often a door is there.
Right.
Um,
Oh, I love
that's
that.
what I would say. Don't be afraid of what you're afraid of.
Yes, yes. I always say, like, you know, when go where the fear is, like just
Yeah.
follow the fear, just follow the
Yeah.
fear. You're right. You have to decide when to do it. Yes,
Mhm.
like not pushing it, but like you said, at some point you're gonna have to go and face it. So just know that this is pointing to the right
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah.
Wow, I love
Yeah.
it. Thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you for sharing
Yeah. Thank
your
you.
expertise and this amazing success of, you know, being able to do this and doing it with the right people and feeling right about it, and, you know, like you said, standing your ground. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
We're
much.
gonna
And thank you
continue
to
the
everybody. Everybody
thank
watching. So
yes, thank you, Rachel. And
thank
we're
you.
gonna continue with our scaling your marketing session. Thank you so
Sounds
much.
good. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Okay, so that was amazing. I would love for you, if you're here in the chat, to type in what you learned from Rachel. And I really wanted her experience around this specific webinar that she did, because it was an eye opener for on so many levels, just like she shared. And now we're going to dive in our scale your marketing session, because this was only the beginning. This was only the appetizer, right? So today we're talking about scale your marketing. I'm just seeing if I can make it bigger. Yeah, I can. You see? Perfect. Today, like I said, is day 3. And so we are going to talk about the lead cycles in your business, a little bit of what Rachel spoke about in terms of what type of market, target market you want to reach, and what are the levels in terms of in the funnel, what are the cycles that they have to go through. We're going to talk about experience-centered marketing in opposition to revenue-centered marketing, which was also something that Rachel spoke about. And we're going to talk about event-based marketing and event-based marketing strategy. But you're actually going to come out of today with a real plan on how to create an event-based marketing campaign. So let me start with the lead cycles in your business. So this is something that it doesn't matter which lever you're on, whether it's launching, growing, or scaling, you're going to have to be really aware of what is the lead cycle that you're on. And let me explain to you what I mean. What I mean by that is we all need, whether we're starting our business or we have a new product or a new campaign or something new that we're selling, a new service, we all need to go through different phases that are going to be the same, right? The first phase is exposure. Exposure means people need to know what we're selling, who we are, to know about us, just to know that we exist. And then it's about generating leads. So once they know that we exist, we need to get their contact details to start the conversation. And so we have the lead generation stage. Then we have the lead nurturing, because once we have the contact, we have the email, we have the name, we want to nurture that relationship, nurture that conversation so that people really, like Rachel said, know, like, and trust us. And then we have the sales conversion, which is why we have a business. It's not just to nurture leads every day, but also to convert them into clients. Now, those 4 cycles are always here. We're always either in an exposure cycle, a lead generation cycle, lead nurturing, or a sales conversion. To take the example of Rachel, because she really has a great example with her webinar, when she was promoting her webinar, or saying, hey guys, you know, I have a webinar, and targeting to the people, the professionals that she wanted to invite, she was in her exposure. When she actually had the form or the landing page to register to the webinar with the link where you need to put your name and say, yes, I'm interested to come this time, this day, this hour, and people gave their email, that was lead generation, because those people actually said, they raised their hand, they said, I'm interested, I'm in, right? And then once she gave the webinar, this was lead nurturing. She was nurturing those leads who signed up for something and who said, yes, I'm in. And so those people were nurtured through the webinar. And at the end of the webinar, when she offered to have a conversation and to see how those professionals can bring her referrals, that was a sales conversation. And that was a sales conversion, actually, when this therapist or professional, mental health professional, is going to give her a referral, right? So we need all 4 cycles in our business. We need all of them. We need the exposure, the lead generation, the lead nurturing, and the sales conversion. The problem is when we focus on the wrong cycle. So let me explain. If I focus, and I know a lot of people, and actually people that come to work with me, and when they come to work with me, they're very involved in exposure and most of the time in lead generation. So it's very clear to people that I need to be seen. So they work on their website, on their logo, on their visuals, on their presence on social media. They're always, making sure that people see them and hear them, which is great. We need that. And then a lot of people talk about lead magnets. How do I get leads? How do I generate leads? I'm going to make them register to this. They're going to, fill out this form. I'm going to send them a newsletter. I'm going to put a lead generation magnet on my website, right? And that is really clear to people that we need, because, online marketing has been talking about this for a long time, that we need to have leads and we need to grow our list and to build our list. That is really clear. What is less clear in my mind, and what I observe with entrepreneurs, and I've been working with hundreds of entrepreneurs in the past 6 years, the people that have leads don't necessarily know how to nurture them. What do I mean by nurturing them? I mean that people are not going to enter your list or register to your newsletter and then sign up the next day with you. It doesn't happen like that. It didn't happen in the past like this, but now for sure it doesn't happen like that, because people are used to receiving so much free, so much content, so much connection and relationships and emails and invitations and all of kind of things, that people, when they start, it's like when you say that the first time you gave your phone number to a guy, the next day you're going to get married to him. No, you're going to go get the phone number and then you're going to go on dates, and 1 and 2 and 3, and sometimes for years, right? Sometimes for months, sometimes for years, until you decide to get married, right? So if you take the sales conversion as the marriage, or as the moving in together, or as the, the action that says, yes, we're together, there's a lot of nurturing in the middle. There is going on a date, there's going on a weekend, there's meeting the parents, there is, doing fun stuff together, going through the first fight, right? All those different steps are the lead nurturing, right? And what I see, and maybe this is you, and I would love for you to type in the chat or to, recognize this if you're watching the recording, that if you are really good at exposure and lead generation, because you know that you have to be seen, that's really intuitive. You know that if you don't have lists of people, you won't be able to contact them. So if they see you, but you don't have their email, then, you don't have control. So you need to generate leads, but then you don't really know what to do to nurture those leads. And I've seen that basically the difference between people that are in the launch, grow, and scale. So people that are in the launch are very busy with exposure. They want their website, their business card, their logo. Where am I going to see, create my social media profiles? That's exposure. And then once they get to the growing stage, they're very involved in lead generation. I need to build my list. I need emails. I need to send newsletters. I need people to give me their email address. And that's lead generation. But actually, when we get to the scaling stage, that's when we're actually more in the nurturing. Okay, this is where it's going to take more time. We're in a long-term relationship. We're going to invest, and we're going to create connections and interaction and engagement. And we're going to create all kinds of events. And that's what we're going to talk about, the events that are going to nurture the people that are on your list. Because people on your list, they're going to fall either asleep, or they're going to, I'm not going to say die, because that's not that's not really what we want. But if they're passive, right? If they're passive on your list, then that's not, they're not going to be converting, that's for sure. And so from the lead nurturing, then we have at one point, when the person is ready, when the time is ready, when a lot of things in the context are ready, then there is a sales conversion. So what I want you to do for this slide, and we're going to move on to the next slide so you'll see exactly how it's all connected, I want you to ask yourself, where am I in my business where I am good at certain things, but I need to focus on that? So for example, my exposure is good, my lead generation is good, I'm getting leads, but I'm not nurturing them. That's one thing. So I need to focus on lead nurturing. Or for example, I'm nurturing the leads. I keep, I have a group and I have all kinds of nurturing things and I'm sending newsletters and but people are not converting. That's another problem, right? Or I am great at exposure, but I'm not getting enough leads. So I can't even nurture or convert them because I don't have enough leads. I don't have people that are really raising their hands and saying, here's my email, be in touch with me. So depending on what you're missing, right, out of those 4 in the cycle, you're going to know what is the marketing that you need to focus on. And like I said, when you are in the scaling stage, it's usually going to be a lead nurturing cycle that you need to focus on, because the lead nurturing cycle is a long one. It's not something that happens overnight. And so what I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to those 4 cycles, and I want you to actually decide or understand or recognize which of those cycles you need to really focus on. Now, this is a more visual way of looking at it, because it's showing you the different the different level and stages that people go through, right? So when you're at the exposure level, you're basically creating awareness, okay? Your awareness that you exist, awareness that you have a service, awareness. We just heard Rachel, she explained to us what she does. That is exposure, right? She just got exposure with you guys, right? If she wouldn't talk to you, wouldn't know she exists, right? So the first level is exposure in order to build and increase awareness. Once we have the exposure, we can create leads, we can generate leads. We can actually have something that is going to interest you. And if she would have said at the end, so if you're interested or you're a mental health professional, here's the link to register to my newsletter. You would have, if you would be that right person, if it was relevant, you would have given your name and your email, and you would have shown interest. This is where I say, okay, this I'm raising my hand to. So when you register to an ebook, when you download a PDF, when you do a quiz, when you download the 5 tips to be able to create a webinar or whatever it is, you're showing interest. You're saying to that person, by the way, when you register to that event, right, to the Scaling Your Business Lab, you showed an interest. You had a form and you put your name and your email. You said, I am interested. And what am I doing now with you guys? I am nurturing you. You are prospects, right? And so whatever happens after that, I raised my hand and I showed my interest is desire. Okay, right now we're talking about what you want. What is it that you're interested in? What is your drive? How is what you're interested in is going to be compatible and going to meet at the sweet spot of what I am offering, right? And so that's where we have the desire of, yes, I want to be here, right? Between the time I registered to the time that I came to the live, here is a desire to come to solve my problem, to find a solution, to learn, whatever the promise of the lead generation is. And then once we go to the sales conversion, which means, wow, what I saw here in the lead nurturing was so good. I want to know how I can work with this person. I want to know how I can actually take that person to help me in my business, not just through a training, not just through a lead magnet, not just through a content that everyone is getting, but I want this person to actually help me with my problem. And I want to know what they're offering, because what they have, the service they have, is something that I need. It's something that I wake up in the middle of the night thinking, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And so if someone can help me solve that problem, like Rachel, for example, right? If she's helping people that, have trauma and, they're really suffering from abuse, or they suffered in the past from abuse, and she's coming with a solution saying, I have a special yoga, special type of activity that is going to help you reconnect with your body, and I'm suffering from this, then of course I'm going to raise my hand and say, I'm interested, I have a desire, and I'm ready for action. Show me where to sign, because this is a real pain point, and this is really a problem that I have, right? So those 4 cycles are the cycles that you need to focus on. And again, the more you're going to be aware of where is it that you are and where is it that you're not, you're going to know where to focus on. Now, the marketing strategy that you want to choose, depending on, is it exposure, is it lead generation, is it lead nurturing, is it sales conversion, is going to have to be very specific. Because, as you know, today, it's becoming more and more difficult to grab people's attention, right? Everyone is crying for attention, everyone is making noise, everyone is omnipresent, everyone is everywhere, and you can just see people sending so many emails. You have automations, you have sequences, you have, like, you can get really like flooded with information and content, and even free content, right? And so you're going to have to change your strategy, especially when you're at the scaling stage. When you're at the growing stage and you want to reach whoever wants to work with you, then you do whatever you have to do, whatever works, right? But when you want to be more strategic, just like Rachel mentioned, right? It's not not facing the whole world and not offering this to everyone, but more being strategic. Then what I'm teaching, and this is something that I'm sharing with you, that I'm sharing also with my paid customer, just like Rachel is and all the other guests that we had, it's about turning a content that is not turned around you, but is turned towards your audience. And what I mean by that is that you're not worried or preoccupied with what is the content that I'm going to teach, or what is the content that I'm going to share, or what is the gift that I'm going to offer, but more, what does the person need, right? Just like we saw with Rachel, instead of saying, I'm doing a webinar, I'm going to put out content, whoever wants to come comes, but more to say, no, I'm going to decide that I want to talk to mental health professionals, and I'm going to put the mental health professional in the center and create that activity, that webinar, that event around that professional. And so that event is going to be tailor-made for them. It's going to be aligned with what they need. It's going to be exactly what is answering their problem or their pain point, right? And so I want to attract your attention to the difference between revenue-centered marketing, client-centered marketing, and experience-centered marketing. Those are 3 different types of marketing. And again, we're getting to the level of scaling where this starts to be a big difference. Again, in the beginning, launching and growing, it doesn't really matter as long as you have people registering and coming and converting them as clients. But when you're starting to become at the scaling level, and you know that you have to fine-tune your strategy and reach more people and to be even more relevant, you have to make the difference between those 3 types of marketing. So revenue-centered marketing is what you ask yourself in the beginning, when you need to establish yourself, when you need to have more clients, have more revenue, also have more self-confidence, and be reassured that everything you do makes sense. And so the question you ask yourself is, how can I get my leads into a funnel so that they can buy my product? I'm talking about me. How can my funnel, my product, they need to buy from me. I'm the business owner. I need to be reassured. But then we move to the client-centered marketing. How can I get my leads to experience a sample of my irresistible offer, which we spoke about yesterday, so that they can taste what it feels like to find a solution to their most burning problem? And here, I'm talking about the people that I want to serve. So you saw with Rachel's example, in the beginning, it was about her doing a webinar. Whoever comes, it doesn't matter. But then it was about the professionals needing to get some content and her creating a webinar around those professionals. So when you get the CEO mindset, you're not centered around you, you're centered around your clients. You know that you have what to give them and you want them to get what they need. And then you have another level, which is called the experience-centered marketing. And that is that they're not only going to get a sample of your irresistible offer, but they're also going to go through a transformational process, right? So it's not just content or information or message, but it's mindset and it's awareness and it's being self-conscious and understanding and having aha moments and epiphanies and understanding things and feeling aligned and seeing things with clarity and just like going through a transformation that's going to make your ideal client already taste the value of what you offer. Not only know from the content and from the irresistible offer, but feel it, know it, right? And see the results that they can achieve even before buying your product or services. So there's a difference between understanding intellectually and seeing it with your mind and the difference between feeling it, feeling the alignment, seeing the clarity, feeling the relief, or understanding things for the first time, or really feeling that, going through a transformation, that this experience, not only this content, but this experience is making you turn into someone new, a new person. Now, the main experience that we have in today's marketing, if you look around, is what I call event-based marketing. What does it mean, event-based marketing? It means that you're going to base your whole marketing around events. And the events are basically the most common and most efficient and effective way of going through an experience. Let me tell you why. So why an event? Okay. An event is you need to have a specific time. So when you have a campaign and you say to people, come buy from me, I'm selling, coaching, for example. Okay. So, just come by, you have exposure, you have lead generation, you have a lead magnet on life coaching in 10 lessons. And then, you expect people to come and do research on you and maybe call you, or you expect people to, do something in order to be in contact with you. But when you have an event-based marketing, you actually already are setting up a date with that potential client, with that lead, with that prospect, because you're saying, I'm going to do something, and we're going to talk about what are the options that you can choose. And I'm going to do something, one event at this day. So meet me on November 18th at 6 p.m. So now I'm already, it's not just I'm selling this, come to me whenever you want for the next 20 years, but it's more like, okay, we have a date, November 20th, I'm going to be there, come meet me, and I'm going to offer you an event. I'm going to offer you an experience. I'm going to offer you a transformation. So when they know that they can come at a specific date, it makes it much more focused, not just I have a website, I have a newsletter, I have click here. Yeah, but I can click here today, I can click here tomorrow, I can click here in 5 years, right? But if I know that on November 18, we have a date, we have a meeting, I'm going to meet you, then it's making it much more concrete. That's for the why. The what is that the theme of the event is the problem that is hurting your ideal client the most, with the promise of a solution. So I'm not only giving you a date, I'm also giving you a title. So for example, the title of this lab, Scale Your Business Lab, is definitely talking to people who are in the scaling stage and want to have an overview of how to scale their business in 5 days. Now, this is an event that has a date, a beginning, a date of an end, and a promise that you're going to learn something in a very short time for something that's going to help you for scaling your whole business. And then the how is the way you will choose to deliver that experience, whether it's through a webinar, a live training, a masterclass, a video training, a boot camp. We're going to give you a list of events that you can actually use to make that person, your prospect, go through an experience. And when is the date of the event, which is the date that you're launching your event, and is the date that, so having an event-based marketing, and you see like a lot of people have different ways of market. They can send you like 10 emails, or they can schedule sales calls, or they can invite you to their Facebook group, or they can send you their newsletters with some lead magnets. So those are marketing strategies. The one that I'm presenting to you today, which is the most compatible with the scaling stage, because it is the one that is going to nurture on the long term, and it's the one that's going to bring the most experience, added value to your potential clients, is the event-based marketing. So let me tell you, like, how are event-based marketing working? So the reason why it's working, it's because it's bringing together many psychological and mental triggers that makes it easy in our marketing, doing our marketing in a fun and authentic way. That's what I love about event marketing. Because first of all, events allow you to tell a story, right? When you come, and let's say I have 5 days of my lab, I'm going to start on the first day to tell you the beginning of the story, second day another part, third day another part. Even when you have a webinar, you have to bring everything you're saying to a story. And people love stories. People listen to stories. Much easier to sell them a story than to sell them your service, right? Also, people feel that they're part of something bigger than themselves. Okay, we're not just buying a product, we're part of an event, we're part of a experience, we're part of a group of people that are doing something together. That is much, much more fun than to go and buy something by myself. Also, there is the community aspect, right? We act as if we think that the people in our community will act. There is the social proof. Okay, you see other people that are coming, that are participating, that are commenting, that are engaging, and so that is also bringing the event-based marketing on another level. There is also the scarcity. In an event, you're going to say, "Yeah, 5 days to come," and you cannot get the recording if you don't register. So it's not like come back in a month or come back in a year, because it's happening now. You have the scarcity of the moment that is happening now. It's also a time where you can position yourself as an authority, because you're teaching, you're sharing, you're exchanging knowledge. And so you're showing people that this is your expertise, this is your authority. There is the anticipation before the event. Oh my God, soon the event, another 5 days, another 3 days, another 2 days. So instead of having a service that you're selling, you're basically having an event that people are looking forward to and can't wait to come for you to show them what you're selling, which is amazing. And also, there is the reciprocity effect. Oh, sorry, the interaction and the conversation. You're basically building a relationship, right? You're having a conversation, you're building a relationship. It's not just like going on a website, clicking on a button and saying, yes, this is what I want to buy. You're having a relationship with the person throughout the event. And the reciprocity also. People want to give back to you. When you give, you give, you give, you give in that event-based marketing, then people want to give back to you. So what is the event-based marketing funnel? So first you have your product, right? So this is your product and your services. This is the big container where all this is happening. And then within this big container, you're choosing a theme that's going to bring a solution to an important problem that your ideal client has. So for example, when I did the closing the sales 3 days training, I knew that closing the sales was something that was a challenge for my ideal client. And so when I did that, I actually offered a solution. I said, here's 3 days to learn how to close the sales. And that was already a theme that was a solution inside the title. Then I create an event, 3 days event. Then I create a pre-event promoting the event, then the event itself, and then the offer. Now, the different types of events that we can offer, you all know them because you've probably participated in a lot, and maybe you've even given some of those. But it's really seeing that everything we see around us today in our marketing is really event-based. Whether it's registering to a workshop, to a conference, to a retreat, to a webinar, to a challenge, to a live training, to a seminar, to a boot camp, to a lab like this one. People have different names, they have different definitions, but you can see that everyone who's marketing today is marketing with those events in mind, right? Because this is what is bringing the transformation. This is what is bringing the glue that brings people together. And this is what is saying to people, this is who I want to work with. Now, this is what I'm giving you an example, for example, of an event, of a live, an example of an event like a live training event, which is what I'm doing now, for example. It's called the lab, but it's just another name for live training. So the pre-event is you promote the event to get as many people registered. Then you have the live training event, which is 3 days or 5 days or whatever you have, where you are delivering a content that people are actually need the answer, they need the solution, they need a transformation. You're selling a process. Then you have a video where you're actually selling what you're offering, or you're inviting them to a sales call. And then you have the post-event where you're following up with their participants until the end of the offer. So I want to give you an example, for example, the live training I did on systems. And some of you have been on this live training. It was a 3 days live training. And it was about 3 days in the open Facebook group, just like this one, where we speak about systems. So before the event, I had to get the visuals ready, the branding on social media, create the landing page and the registration system, giving you an insider look here on what everything has to be done before the event, creating Facebook and LinkedIn event, posting on social media, mailing my mailing list, and individual follow-up. During the event, it's 3 days of lives, of worksheets, of recording, and of giving access to the whole access page with all the recordings. And the post event is scheduling a call so people can actually check with me if I'm a good match to help them solve their problem. I've shown them what I know, I've shown them my expertise, and so they can decide to work with me or not. So we're getting to the hour, 7 o'clock. I'm very proud of us, guys. And I want to wrap up. What did we learn today? So today was day 3, and today was the marketing. Scale your marketing. We learned about the lead cycles in our marketing, in our business. We learned about the difference between exposure, lead generation, lead nurturing, and closing of the sales conversation. We learned also what is an experience-centered marketing as opposed to revenue-centered marketing or client-centered marketing. From that, we took an example of an event-based marketing because that's an experience-centered marketing. So an event could be, like we said, a workshop. It could be a lab. It could be a challenge. It could be a webinar. It could be a masterclass. Anything that has a date, that has a group of people, and that has something happening, whether it's content or a transformation. This is what is event-based marketing. And then we spoke about the event-based marketing funnel, what happens before, what happens during, what happens after, and we even gave you examples of different types of events. So I'm going to send you the worksheet by email today. And in this worksheet, I'm going to ask you to actually look through your marketing. First of all, decide which cycle you need to be in. Is it exposure, lead generation, lead conversion, or nurturing? And then I'm going to ask you to also decide or to choose or to think about what is the event-based marketing that you could do. What form would that be? Would it be a webinar, live training, a boot camp, a challenge? Like, choose which one would it be. And also, most important, what would be the theme that you would choose to address in terms of bringing a solution to a problem that your clients have? Once you have done those things, you are ready to scale your marketing, because this is doing marketing on another level. This is not just having a website or a social media post or a landing page or a lead magnet. This is creating a transformation, an experience for all the people that are following you to be able to really connect with you and see who you are and see what you have to offer so that they can become your clients. So I hope that this was helpful and that you learned something. I definitely enjoy doing this with you because it's so amazing to talk about leveraging your marketing and seeing how at this level of your business, you're able to think about new strategies to reach more people, increase your revenue, increase your impact, and just be more of who you are and doing more of what you know how to do. So it's just amazing. I'm going to tell you that tomorrow we are going to be day 4 of our lab. It's going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, which is systems. So scaling your systems is happening tomorrow. We are having a guest, and we are going to talk about how to structure your whole business, whether it's your foundation or the whole aspect of your business, so that you can be more efficient and you can be more automated and waste more time and focus more on your unique brilliance and have more clients and more revenue of that as a consequence of that. So thank you so much, everyone. Feel free to type in the chat if you have any questions, either now or while you watch the recordings. You can come back to the group and type questions here. Some people have done that this morning, and I did come back and answer their questions. And if you want to share in the comments, like, what is the lead cycle that you need to focus on, or what is the event that you decide to really, the strategy, event-based marketing strategy that you choose, then feel free to share with us. Have a good evening or morning, wherever you are. And I will see you tomorrow for day 4 of our Scale Your Business Lab. Bye for now.